Hello, my friends. Welcome to Unit 3 review. It's page 105 is where we're starting from. And this video is actually going to be in 3 parts, possibly 4 parts. So make sure that you're watching all the parts. If you've been in class, we actually have gone over this. If you haven't been in class, then this is me going over it. All right. So through this whole thing, it's important to remember a couple of things. Number 1, you're multiplying or dividing. Number 2, you cannot multiply or divide mixed numbers. You have to change them into improper fractions. And 3, the test is going to want to trick you. They're going to make things not so obvious. So make sure that you're reading every question carefully and really thinking about what it's asking. I promise you, you all can do this math. You just need to pay attention to what they're asking. Okay, so for number 1, this is asking if the answer is going to be less than 1, equal to 1, or greater than 1. And what it's also asking is like without multiplying. Okay, I'm going to be straight up. I would totally multiply because I don't know. And I don't want to be wrong, especially when I can multiply and prove my answer. All right, so number 1A, we're taking 13/4 times 5/8 is greater than, less than, or equal to x. Well, if I look at 5/8, I'm multiplying 5/8 by a number greater than 1. So x is going to be bigger than 5/8 because 5/8 is being multiplied by a number greater than 1. 4/4 is 1. This is 13/4. So this is like 3 1/4. Okay, so 5/8, x is going to be greater than. But then if we look at 3/4 and ask ourselves, 3/4 is being multiplied by 5/8. Well, 5/8 is less than 1. So yeah, 13/4 is greater than 1, but we're not multiplying it by a number greater than 1. We're multiplying it less than 1. So x is actually going to be smaller than 13/4. So it's going to be in the middle. And here, I'm going to do the math because, well, that would just be easier. So that's 45 over 32, which is the same as 1 and 13 32nds. And 13/4 would be 3 1/4. Okay, so yeah, so the answer is correct. It is less than 13/4, but clearly greater than 5/8. Okay, well, number B, if this one is tricky, this one is not. So I'm multiplying 4/3, which is greater than 1, by 6. So is the answer going to be greater than 4/3? Yeah, 6 times greater. So it's going to be greater than 4/3. And I'm multiplying 6 by greater than 1. Not very much greater than 1, but still greater than 1, so it's going to be bigger. Okay? Because 4/3 times 6 is 24/3, which equals 8. So both bigger. And this is an example of where I could just quickly do the math. 24/3 equals 8. And that's fine. Truthfully, I would have totally done the math. All right, 2/5 times 1/7. Okay, well, this one was all bigger than, this one's all greater than, or all less than. 2/5 times 1/7. I'm multiplying 2/5 by a number less than 1, so x is going to be less than 2/5. And I'm multiplying 1/7 by a number less than 1, so x is going to be less than 1/7. It's going to be 2/35. And again, I could do the math. Okay. All right, and this one, well, this is 7/7, any number over itself equals 1. So 5 times 8 is going to 5 times 8 times 1 equals. But now, the flip side to this, I'm multiplying 7/7 times the number less than 1. So it's going to be less than. In fact, it's going to be 5/8. Because, well, it's 5/8 because it's equal to. Okay? So that's number 1. You just got to think about it. Greater than, less than, and equal to. All right? All right, so number 2, this question, I've done this math test 5 years in a row. This is year number 6. And this question throws everybody for a loop. And nobody seems to understand why. Well, here's the deal. It's like the farm question. It's an acre question. All right, so first things first. 3 packages of trail mix are shared equally between Alicia and her 4 classmates. It's not Alicia gives it to her 4 classmates. It's Alicia and her 4 classmates. So we're talking 5 people. That's number 1 way people mess it up. They're like, oh, Alicia and her 4 classmates. It's very important. Okay, well then, let's think about this in real life. I go to Trader Joe's and I buy trail mix. And I buy the delicious Monster, which has like caramel bits and candy, and it's super yum. And then I buy some sweet and spicy. And then they have one, it's like the peanut butter and jelly one. It's like got peanuts and raisins and tastes like a bite of peanut butter jelly sandwich. It's super yummo. I think they might even have peanut butter cups in it, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna get the peanut butter and jelly kind. Okay, so now we're out on the trail. Alicia and her 4 friends, they're hungry. Well, I'm not gonna eat all of my Monster. I'm gonna want a little bit of each. So I'm gonna separate all 3 bags into fifths, because you don't want just a little of one kind. You want a little of all kinds, right? You want a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay. Now, 1 person. So how much is Alicia gonna get? Well, Alicia's gonna get 1/5 of the Monster, 1/5 of the sweet and spicy, and 1/5 of the PB&J, okay? So that's what Alicia's gonna get. And she's happy because she's like, oh, I got some Monster, I got some sweet and spicy, and I got some PB&J. Like, oh, trail mix nirvana. Okay, now here's where the book tries to mess you up. The way they ask this question makes you doubt yourself, and you gotta stop doing that. So the question is, how much of 1 package of trail mix will each person get? So when they ask it this way, you're thinking, oh man, I mean, they're only gonna get 1 kind? No. They're thinking how much trail mix total are they gonna get? Okay, so don't overthink this. Just think, okay, so the Monster, she got 1/5 of the Monster, plus 1/5 of the sweet and spicy, plus 1/5 of the PB&J. It's basic addition of fractions. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3/5. She's gonna get 3/5 of trail mix. Now, this is a totally acceptable way to do this. I know this is a multiplication and division test, but I gotta be honest with you, this is kind of the most obvious way. Now, you could totally just do some math and be like, all right, well, 3 packages divided by 5 people, okay? So 3/1 divided by 5/1 equals 3/1 times 1/5, which equals 3/5. You could totally do that, okay? Or you could just take this and go, oh, 1/5 times 3/1 equals 3/5. So you could do it that way, you could do it that way, or you could do it that way. Any one of those is perfectly fine. But the answer really is, how much trail mix is she gonna get if she's got the 3 different kinds? Okay, don't let it fool you. It's just asking how much trail mix she got. She got 1/5 of this, plus 1/5 of this, plus 1/5 of that. Okay, number 3. For breakfast buffet, Mr. Walker must equally divide 12 loaves of bread between 7 platters. How many loaves of bread are placed on each platter? Well, it's a division problem. 12 loaves onto 7 platters. So 12 divided by 7. Okay, well, that makes sense. If I have 12 loaves of bread, I'm going to distribute them out to 7 platters. That's what I'm going to do. So you could just do straight up division. 7 goes into 12 one time with 5 sevens left over. So 1 5/7 loaves of bread. Yes, I know this is a multiplication and division of fractions test, but really, that's the math. Here's how you could do it as a fraction. 12/1 divided by 7/1, which is now fractions, equals 12 over 1 times 1 over 7, which equals 12 sevenths, which equals 12 goes in the house, 7 goes knocking on the door, and it's 1 and 5 sevenths. So that works too. It's the same math. It's just written differently. It's really the same math. Division is multiplication of fractions. Okay. All right. So let's look at number 4. Ellen has 1/3 hour to warm up for her gymnastics meet. She must complete 6 different stretches in that time. She spends an equal amount of time on each type of stretch and does not take a break. How long in hours does she spend on each type of stretch? Write and solve an equation. So this one, the first time I did it, I put it into minutes. Don't bother. Leave it as a fraction. Okay, so Ellen has 1/3 an hour. And that 1/3 hour, she's got to divide into time for 6 different stretches. So we're going to end up, this is actually a division problem because I'm going to take that 1/3 hour and I'm going to divide it by 6 stretches. I'm not multiplying it, I'm dividing it. So she's going to take a little time for one stretch, a little time for stretch 2. So it's a division problem. So it's 1/3 divided by 6, which becomes 1/3 times 1/6, which equals 1/18 of an hour. Now, for those of you who are like, what? 1/3 divided by 6 over 1. That's the flip zone, remember? So it's 1/3 times, and this is a good chance to spot check to make sure you've changed the division sign into multiplication and that you flipped the last fraction. And remember, we never flip the front fraction because that is what we already have. You can't flip what you already have. And then we got 1/18. Okay? All right. Ava has 2 frogs. Okay, so Ava has 2 frogs. This is 1/3 the number of frogs that Heather has. Okay? How many frogs does Heather have? I'm not going to do any math. I'm going to draw a diagram. Heather, so if Ava's the 1, Heather's the 3, so she's got 3 boxes. 2, 2, 2, and she has 6 frogs. That's it. You can use a comparison problem because if Ava has 2 and that's 1/3 of Heather, that means Heather has 3 of the boxes. So 2 times 2 times, or 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6 frogs. That's the comparison problem. If you did that, that would be awesome. And that's all you'd have to do. I completely understand your thought process. If you want to do the math, here's what it looks like. Ava has 2. That is 1/3 of Heather. Well, I can't do that, so I have to change it around. So I've got 2 divided by 1/3 equals Heather. So 2 times 3 over 1 equals 6. So 6 frogs. Either way, that works. Okay. For a snack, Miss Johnson gives her class graham crackers. She has a package of 12 graham crackers to share equally among 8 students. How many graham crackers should each student receive? Okay, well, she's got 20 graham crackers divided by 8 students. So this is just like the love question. So it's a regular division problem. 20 goes in the house, 8 knocks on the door. 8 goes into 22 times with 4/8 or 1/2 left over. So that, or 20 over 1 divided by 8 over 1 equals 20 over 1 times 1 over 8, which equals 20/8, which is 20's in the house, 8's knocking on the door. That's 2 times, that's 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. 4/8 or 1/2. So it's 2 and 1/2. If you leave it as 4/8, that's okay too. Okay? So this one, we're looking at whether or not the answers would be correct. So you got to use some common sense. That's all this is. So 3/5 times 2/7. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, not 21, so that's a false. I don't even need to look at 7 times. 5 times 7 is not 10 either. All right, well, 2 times 5 is 10. That's correct. 9 times 3 is 27. Well, that's correct. Okay. 7 times 5 is 35. That's correct. 8 times 9 is 72. That's correct. So it's just basically looking at the math. 1 times 3 is 4. No. 1 times 3 is 3. This is an example of your book trying to trick you. Because 1 plus 3 is 4, but 1 times 3 is 3. So this is false. Don't let it trick you, because it'll try to trick you and then you'll be sad. Okay, and then the last one I'm going to do on this video, because I did 12, I did this a little backwards. So 12's on a different video. All right, Maria plants planters in a planter that is 1 feet, 1.5 feet long by 1 2/3 feet long. She plans to cover the entire area with fertilizer. Remember, area is length times width. How much area will she need to spread the fertilizer? Okay, so we're going to multiply 1 1/2 times 1 2/3. Well, 1 1/2, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3/2. Times 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5/3. I'm going to get rid of those 3's because they cancel each other out. And now I've got 5 seconds, or 2 goes into 5 2 times with 1 1/2. She's going to have 2 and 2/4, because 5 goes into 2. That's 2 times, that's 4, that's 1 1/2. 2 1/2 square feet. Okay? So that's how you do the unit review. All right, good luck. Oh, so the video, you have 2 more videos. The next video covers 12 through 18, and then there's a video for 19 and 20. Okay.